next to the ladies who operate very dry yet.
All right, everybody can grab a seat. We'll go ahead and get started. What a fantastic room. I want to thank you all for coming and taking your valuable time to come learn about something that we're very, very excited about. How many people are here coming to check this out for the first time tonight? Yes. Thank you. Thank you for taking your valuable time to learn about, as I mentioned, something that we're very excited about. And I'd like to just, my name is Bart Kotter. I'd like to introduce our special guest tonight, Dr. Maureen Hayes, excuse me. Maureen is an MD, medical doctor for more than 25 years. She is double board certified by the American Board of Anesthesiology in both general anesthesiology and pain management. She's also credentialed in age management medicine and certified in acupuncture by the Helms Medical Institute. She's an amazing lady. She's also a double diamond associate with ASEA. She'll talk a little bit more about her background and what she's been involved with. But please give a warm welcome to Maureen Hayes.
And thank you, everybody, for being here. This is an amazing turnout. I'm so happy to be here in Australia and so happy to be speaking to all of you. And I want you to know, when I do a meeting back home, I'm lucky to get like 50, 60 people in the room, so this is overwhelming. So I'm a little bit nervous, so I'm actually just imagining you all naked. But I want to tell you, some of you need a little work. So anyway, I'm going to tell my story, which is all roads lead to ASEA, because so many people say, okay, you're a medical doctor, you went through all of that training, all of those years, and actually, you know what? It's been 30 years this month that I graduated from medical school. I was 12, so. But in any case, people wonder, how did you end up doing this? And so, it's a kind of a journey, and things kind of came together, and it was a wonderful path for me. So, I believe there's a clip here. Now, I have to admit up front, you guys, I was never picked to be the AV person in high school, so if I seem like I'm struggling, that's just pretty normal. So let's see. Yeah, right. That was not the right button. Okay, let's pick another one. Oh, okay, there we go. Okay, just a little bit of background on me. I really am a real doctor. I would rather be playing one on TV, but it's true, I have a medical degree. I went to Emory, and this probably means nothing to you guys, since you're from Australia and I'm from the US. Emory is a wonderful school in Atlanta, Georgia. From there, I went to the Medical University of South Carolina, and this is me on graduation day. That's not my boyfriend, but my best friend, and I just love that picture because look how cute and hopeful I was. I know you're wondering what happened. Yeah, life. So anyway, this is 25 years later. My friend Buddy Hammerman runs about 300 hospitals in the US, and that's when I introduced him to redox signaling molecules, so that was pretty fun. So I did my residencies. I went up north for that. So when you guys call me a Yank, yeah, I kind of am a Yank. At least it was for 12 years while I was up in Boston. This is in Worcester at the University of Massachusetts, where I first started as a surgeon. I was a urologist. So any of you men out there, the very first operation I learned was worchiectomy. You don't know what that word means, you can look it up at home. So, yeah, and I actually went on and I did my residency in anesthesia and got certified in pain management, which is a fellowship. So a long 4 years of surgery, then 3 years of anesthesia, then an extra year for pain. So I was like the longest living resident in this hospital. I could go into any department and drink coffee and donuts, it was a party group. So after that, I actually worked at the Harvard system. Does Harvard mean anything to you guys here? Okay, super. Yeah, I worked for Harvard, and then I worked in a couple of different hospitals around the way. And I was actually chief of anesthesia, believe it or not, at one of those hospitals. This is me when I first got to Texas. Yeah, look at that smile. Do I look happy? No, that is a very pained smile. That's my husband. His name is Joaquin Cordial, and he's the whole reason that I do what I do. And I'll tell you a little bit more about his story. We now are in Galveston, Texas. You guys are familiar with that, outside of Houston. And my husband is still practicing there. I actually made my escape when we were hit by a hurricane and closed down in 2008. And I took a leave of absence from there, and I actually never went back. Now, my husband is a pretty famous guy. In fact, he just recently, his lab in Galveston grew a lung outside of the body. He's a pediatric anesthesiologist and a stem cell researcher. And they actually took lungs and grew them in a bioreactor and then transplanted them into pigs, and they worked. And in fact, they took the scaffolding, and then once they took it back out of the pig, you can see it's vascularized, which is pretty cool. You know, a lot of people these days are interested in stem cell, and you know what? I'm not a stem cell researcher. I don't do stem cells, but I have to wonder if we're talking about little stem cells that grow into something else. Think about this. What is it that makes them grow into the tissue that they grow into? Could it be possibly redox? We'll talk a little bit about that. They just got published on the Science Translational Medicine, and they're on the front cover, so that's a really pretty big thing. So my husband is doing really amazing work, and it's really important to me that he be around to do it, and maybe to you guys too. Now, you know what? I'm a critical thinker. I'm sure there's a lot of critical thinkers out there, and so I like to ask questions. And the questions that I asked myself was, what's really important to me in life? And have any of you ever kind of thought about that? What is it that you're doing? You know, life actually, life actually goes by so fast. You know, these years, the older I get, now that I'm in my 40s, they're going by very, very quickly. And so you really have to stop sometimes and think, what is it that's really, truly important? And why am I doing what I'm doing? So I was saying, why am I practicing medicine? What was my reason for doing what I did? And how do I get my life back? After so many years of practicing, let me tell you, you sacrifice a lot when you practice medicine. It's not just the 4 years of college, 4 years of medical school, like I said, you know, 8 years of residency. And then they actually own you. You know, I was on call a lot when I was there. You know, so the things that were important to me, just like everybody else, you know, I wanted to live in a nice house. We had a second house down in Florida. We lived right down the road from Harvard. Beautiful house, beautiful cars, beautiful life. And everybody, if you looked at us from the outside, you would say, these two have made it. They're at the top of their game. We had lots of money, but the problem was, we also had a young son. Any parents in here, grandparents? Any of you ever have that sensation or that experience where you are the last parent to pick your kid up from school and your kid is outside waiting with the teacher crying because they feel like they've been abandoned yet again? You know what I'm talking about? That was my kid's life on a daily basis because I would be stuck at the hospital. And like I said, I was chief of anesthesia. So, you know, I felt like a failure. Anybody ever have guilt over how they're living their life? Yeah, thank you for being honest. Yeah, it was not a good feeling. And here, you know, that's my little guy, Christopher. He's not little anymore. He's 27. But you know what? He's the light of my life. And there I was, my husband and I, at that time, my husband was doing not only pediatric, but he was also doing transplant, liver transplant anesthesia. So he was in the hospital all the time. I was in the hospital all the time. We paid people to live our lives for us. So we were making all this money. We were tonning it. You guys would be very impressed by the amount of money we made. But we never saw it or enjoyed it. It went into our bank account, went right back out to pay all the people so we could get up and do it again the next day. So you've heard of people having lots of money but no time? That was our life. Now what happened is at the hospital where I worked, a gentleman, another physician, came to speak to me. And he said, I want to show you a way that you can get your life back. And it's called network marketing. I was like, what? And he came in and he sat down with a piece of paper and he started drawing these circles and sticks. And I let it go on for about 10 minutes because I had no idea what was going on. And I said, you know what? Can you come with me? And he was like, sure. And I actually walked him outside so he could read my name on the door. You know, Maureen Hayes, MD, chief of anesthesiology. I said, could you read that aloud? I said, you know, I've got a good job, and I don't need another one. Thank you. Get out of here, right? So what was funny is that my husband and I were on our way to a medical conference, and I was complaining the whole time about how miserable I was. You know, I had no time. I wasn't raising my own kid. And of course, my husband was watching a movie, and he wasn't paying any attention to me at all. So I had to read a book. My mom had given me this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Has anybody ever read that book or know what I'm talking about? No, I was 40. Okay, I was lying about my age. I was 40 years old, and I knew nothing about money. It was amazing to me. So I learned all about how to leverage money and how to be a business owner. And one of the things that Robert Kiyosaki talks about is network marketing. And I thought, you know what? I need to take another look at this. So anyway, I came back and I called that guy and I said, okay, sign me up and tell me about this, show me the little circles and sticks because I think I want to do it. Now the problem is I was horrible at it. Yeah, I was a failure. I was part of the No Friends Left group, so not a really good experience for me. So my husband and I moved down to Texas. My husband is also part of the military. And I want to give a hand to Dick over here. Could you stand up for us? Because he is a World War II veteran. So, thank you so much. And my husband was also in the military as well. In fact, he's been awarded a couple of different from the U.S. Army. He retired as a colonel in the Army Reserves. And he's gotten the Legion of Merit here. He's got the Bronze Star for I can't even say the word, for exemplary service. And he's the whole reason that I learned about redox signaling molecules. You see, the last time he was in Iraq, he was running in a sandstorm. He had run like 10 miles. And one of the other doctors said, "You're wheezing." And he said, "Of course I'm wheezing. I just ran 10 miles through a sandstorm." And the guy said, "Well, the rest of us aren't wheezing." And so he harangued him until he went and had a chest x-ray. Turned out he had a huge mass in his chest. Luckily for us, we live in Texas. We live close to this hospital here. And he went there and he got treated. And they used very strong chemicals to treat him. And they did surgery. And then they used this beam, if you will, to get all of the tissue from the surgical field. And so my husband went from being a former marathon runner, still running 8-10 miles a day, to actually wearing oxygen to watch TV. He was in his late 50s at the time, and we thought our lives were over. Now, none of us actually ever expect for our lives to change in a second like that, right? Everybody here feels like they're in pretty good shape, you know, maybe financially, maybe health. You know, you think you've got it all settled, all figured out, what you're going to do, how you're going to retire. And then something like this happens. And you know what, you guys, this stuff happens a lot. And so I tell people, dig your well before you're thirsty, right? We were very blessed. They took care of his problem, and he's disease-free. And that we're very grateful. But we weren't happy that he was left kind of compromised from the treatment. So interestingly, a friend of mine who doesn't even know what H2O stands for calls in, we're having a conversation, he tells me about redox signaling molecules. And I'm like, he doesn't know my husband is sick. We're just having a conversation. He's a businessman. He said, I found something that's an amazing breakthrough that's going to, you know, change humanity. And I don't know what to tell you. People are having amazing results from this product. And I said, what is it? And so he tells me, and the funny thing is, or not so funny, is that somebody had told me about this when my mom was sick. My mom had lung cancer. And they said, you need to look into this. And I didn't. When I saw that it was made from salt water, I deleted all of the emails. Well, my mom passed away. And I was like, when I found out it was the same product, I was like, no. And you guys, I bet against it. I really did not want to deal with the guilt. I am Catholic. You know, we are kind of guilt-ridden. But I did not want to deal with the guilt of not having tried it for my mom. So, but I did. I got it on my husband. And being a critical thinker, of course, I had another 3 questions. What are redox signaling molecules? Who all, besides the introduced in ASEA, had ever heard of these things? No. And those of you who are guests here, have you ever heard of them before? No. I hadn't either. This was 6.5 years ago. And if they do exist, how do we know that they're in the bottle that people are talking about? And even if they are in that bottle, how do we know they work in the body like the ones that we naturally make? So these were my questions. It's a little bit of redox biochemistry for you. And anybody here know the Krebs cycle? Can you stand up and recite it for us? Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, these little molecules are made in the mitochondria, which are the powerhouses of our cells, right? And that's about all you really need to know. Anyway, I called my sister. My sister was not. You want to do Krebs cycle? Oh, okay.
I'll do that for you.
Okay. Anyway, I called my sister and I said, hey, Latham has told me about redox signaling molecules. I've never heard of these things. Now, my sister's not a doctor or a nurse, a scientist, or anything, but she is a medical writer for the Medical University of South Carolina, where I went to school. And she said, well, I've heard of them. I was like, no, you haven't. You know, sibling rivalry. And she said, no, I absolutely have. We've just gotten a $10.5 million COBRA or NIH grant to study these in the body, as far as heart disease, lung disease, obesity, diabetes, you name it. And I was like, you're kidding me. And she actually sent me the press release. And they actually, they really did. Back 7 years ago, it did say redox signaling molecules. Now they've changed it to the oxidants, redox balance, and stress signaling. So I actually called the key researcher and I said, hey, did you know that there was a supplement? And he said, no, that's not even possible. And I said, but what if it worked? He goes, but it's not. I said, but what if it worked? And he said, then I want to take it. I said, I'll be sending you some information. In case you think life is any different for me as a doctor, I could never get that guy back on the phone again either. So, when I was doing my research, you know, I went to Google for doctors, which is PubMed.gov, right? And back then there was about 6,000 references to redox signaling. Now there's almost 20,000. And there's also a number of different, this is just with one, if you look at the top, redox signaling in one type of challenge. There's all sorts of journals that have to do with this. There are 10,000 studies on redox that have been published in medical journals, 1,200 books. There's conferences going on. In fact, there was just a huge international conference in Paris. And I had never heard of this. And you guys have never heard of this. But this is happening behind the scenes. And it's gaining. It's gaining in popularity. It's gaining in importance. This is what I looked at, because back then we didn't have a whole lot of studies. So I looked at the studies that were done by Dr. Neiman, David Neiman, at the Appalachian State in North Carolina, the Appalachian State Human Performance Lab. And what he showed is that athletes taking these products could run faster, further, longer. They had an improvement in their what's called a VO2 max and ventilatory threshold. Now, my husband, as I said, was on oxygen to watch TV. So his problem had to do with oxygenation, right? And so I thought, well, if it can help them, maybe it can help my husband. And it's totally non-toxic, so we had nothing to lose. And it had a 30-day money-back guarantee, so, you know, if it doesn't work, we'll get our money back. That's what we were thinking. So we went all in. Now, at that time, I'd actually gone back and I told you I took a little hiatus from anesthesia and tried my hand in network marketing. It's not good. But I went back for age management. Anybody here getting older? Woke up older today than you were yesterday? Yeah. Well, the older I get, the more important age management becomes to me. And so I went for a course. I got certified in age management, which is helping you to get to old age more gracefully and still be vital. You know, like I say, we all want to be 90 years old or more, right? But who here wants to be in a wheelchair or have somebody wiping your drool or wiping something else? No, no, thank you. We want to be golfing and hiking and mountain climbing and all that jazz. So this is pretty cool. What's interesting is when I was at one of the conferences, the gentleman was speaking, the keynote speaker was talking about mitochondria, VO2 max, and ventilatory threshold. And I was like, wait a minute, this sounds really familiar. Now, we had been on the product at that point for about 6 months, and we're seeing some results, but I had not really bought in. So I went up to him afterwards and I said, hey, have you ever heard of redox signaling molecules? And he said, pool water? Who's tasted it? Pool water? Yeah. And I said, ASEA? And he said, yes, I take it and I recommend it to all my patients. I'm like, oh my God, yeah, I ran up to my hotel room to call my husband and say, I think this might be legit. So that was pretty interesting. Now, I'll tell you what, we were on the product. Remember, you know, the 30-day money-back guarantee? We were on the product for 6 weeks and had noticed absolutely nothing. And I called Latham and I said, hey, how long can I get my money back? And he was like, you're past it, keep drinking. And thank God he did, because our blessing was about 6 weeks out. So what was interesting is my husband was in Boston at the Experimental Biology Conference in 2013, and he was presenting his information there, and he called me and goes, you're not going to believe this. ASEA has a poster there. I'm like, really? This is big, you guys. This was Dr. David Neiman. Now, they had done studies on athletes, but athletes will only go so far. They will not run or ride a bike to exhaustion until they fall over. So they did it to mice. So the mice, what they found is that the mice on ASEA could run 29% further than mice who were not. So let me tell you what, if you've got mice in your house and you've got them on ASEA, you better put your cats on their tails. So that was really pretty impressive. And in case you're wondering, ASEA is, you guys, it can't get more basic than this. It is made from salt, pristine salt, from Morton salt fields, kosher salt, very pure salt, and distilled water. In fact, they use reverse osmosis. And what they do is they take the saline solution. Any medical people here? Okay, when you start an IV, what do you put in? Is it a saline solution? Yeah. Is that what our bodies are made of? Yes, we're made of salt water, you guys. That's what's made in our cells. So that's what they take. That's what they use. They use the same thing in ASEA that we use in our very cells. It's salt, pure water, and energy. And the energy breaks apart these bonds so that you get a mixture of redox molecules. It's patent protected, so we can't really say exactly what they are. But you're only working with Na, Cl, H, and O. So however you can put those together, it's probably in there. Pretty cool, you guys. And then my favorite. Who loves the gel?
Yes.
Fantastic. In fact, let me stop here and just say, can I see a show of hands of who in this room has either had a life-changing experience with these products or knows somebody who has? Okay, raise your hands up high. You new people who are just learning about this, take a look around the room. Most of the people in here have. So what you're learning about right now is pretty important. Now, you guys who are in these front rows, do any of you have any pain or discomfort anymore?
I'm 60, of course.
Yeah, is it something you can get to? Like a knee or no hemorrhoids? A knee. Now, I'm going to ask you to do something, okay? Raise your hands again. Can you help me out here? Okay, what's hurting you? Shoulder. Okay, take one of these options. Okay, I want you to rub it on your shoulder, just a small amount. You're gonna have to take out the little foil thing, and rub it on your shoulder if you can get to it. Thank you. 3 times in 5 minutes. Okay. Raise your hand if you want to be part of our experiment. So you're going to take a tiny little pea size. Rub it on your hurt area. But before you do that, you guys, I want you to stop and think. I'm going to ask you on a scale of 1 to 10 where you are. You know, is it just kind of bothering you a little bit? Maybe it's a 3. Is it really hurting you or hurts a lot from the movement? Maybe that's a 7 or an 8. So think about where you are. I'm going to ask you again after you've had a chance to put it on where you are. So anyway, this is an incredible product. And I have to admit, when they first came out with it, you know, they did it because we were taking the liquid and we were spraying it on ourselves, spraying it on our eyes, putting it everywhere, soaking hands and feet in it, using it all the time for everything. And so they worked very hard to make a topical version, a gel version. So we could use it, take the liquid from the inside out and gel from the outside in. And as a doctor, I have to tell you, I was highly offended by how excited people were about this product. You know, it's like, isn't health paramount? You know, that's what I do for a living. And I thought everybody is so excited about this gel, and they're not as excited about the liquid. But when they unleashed the product and people had to go to the back of the room to get it, and there was a limited supply, I had to beat about 50 women out of there to get the gel first. So it's a pretty amazing product. We'll show you some pictures. Anyway, this stuff is 100% safe. It's non-toxic. You can use it from the oldest of the old to the youngest of the young, and it just has side benefits. So here's some of the things that we know. Now, it's called Renew 28 because your skin cells turn over in 28 days. When you get to be a little bit older, it can take up to 90 days for it to do it by age 50. So if you're over 50, give it a little bit of time. You will love it. It also reduces cellulite, which is a huge hit. Unbelievable. I was at a conference of women and I talked about cellulite and they were all like, tell me more. You know, even the wrinkles they weren't that excited about. So anyway, it's been awarded 5 stars by Dermatest out of Germany, which is a huge thing for us in the US because our standards are not as high as the German standards. So the fact that it got 5 stars for both efficacy and for safety is a really big deal. You can see that it decreases wrinkles, improves elasticity of the skin, and actually increases skin hydration, which is amazing because it's not a moisturizer. It's not plumping up those cells because of putting moisture in them. It's actually healing the cells and making them more youthful. So pretty cool. And it's been validated by science. So, you know, we've had studies not just by Dermatest, but also by Stevens in Dallas, Texas, which is close to me. So, visible reduction in redness, 50% increase in blood flow. That's amazing. Do you know anybody who could benefit from improved blood flow? We see all sorts of things with this. Just very, very interesting. And here's the butt study. This is Bart, Kotter, and and they look great. Yeah. So in fact, this wasn't even, they didn't even finish the study when they had these changes already. So you know what? Bathing suit season, oh, not here. I forgot, it's winter, isn't it? But in the US, you know, we have women slathering it on, and some men too, because it has a 15% decrease in cellulite. This is the neck that launched the company. Look at that. She showed up at that first convention when they launched the gel, and I'll tell you what, there was not a tube left, you know, people were fighting over that stuff. But look at all the differences, you know, redness, crepiness of the skin, eruptions, even lines of expression, things that are pretty hard to get rid of. And look at this arm. If I had that arm, I would be buying this by the jugful, you know? And even cracked feet, underarms, knees, that's a baby's knee. Just incredible. And just here's some more. Look at this one right here. This is a really interesting one because they're showing skin color discoloration. But if you can look closely, and I don't know how good that is, being, you know, on large this thing, but even her pore size has changed, and the skin under her neck, and then here again. You know, my son, my older son, my stepson, had really bad skin eruptions when he was in high school, and it was a self-confidence, self-esteem type of thing. So his dad and I agonized and put him on a medication that was actually toxic, and they had to follow his liver enzymes. You know, imagine now being able to have something like this with 100% non-toxic that does what this does. Pretty cool, huh? So you can use it for any part of the body. And this is seeing is believing. Now, down here in this corner is my best friend, Masami. And she called me. First, she sent me a picture of her husband's neck. Bruce is Caucasian, and his neck was greatly improved. And I was like, wow, I never knew Bruce's neck looked that bad, right? Because it had totally changed. And she said, yeah, but it doesn't work for me. And I said, what do you mean? She said, I've seen absolutely no change in my skin. And I said, well, you're Japanese, you have peaches and cream skin, you know, maybe you're just not going to see a big change. I said, did you take a before picture? And she said, yes. I said, well, take an after picture and just compare. And she sent things to me. I said, oh my God, sister, keep using it. You know, there's a huge change. And you should see her now. She looks amazingly different. She looks very, very young. And my very favorite, and I hope she's not Australian. Is she here? Are you here? I love that picture. I mean, she didn't need renew. She just needed to smile at somebody, didn't she? Anyway, seeing is believing, you guys. You know? So I love showing these kind of pictures. So much fun. So anyway, this is huge, you guys. This is a gene study that was done about 1.5 years ago. So we knew that the product did a lot of great things, but we didn't exactly know why it took care of one thing but not another, or different people had different expressions when they would use it. So they did an 8-week study, and they used healthy, like the mean age was 35 years old, and they put them on 8 ounces a day, which is twice of what our maintenance dose, but they wanted to see exactly what would happen. And they were governed by an independent review board that said that they could only do the study for 8 weeks. Now, there's tons of us who've been on these products for years, some people even a decade, with no negative effects. But the IRB was like 8 weeks, that's all you got. So they doubled up the dose. But it was really interesting because 100% of them had an effect from it, positive effects. So these effects were in 5 major areas of health: cardiovascular, GI, hormone modulation, immune status, and inflammation. Now, who here knows that inflammation is like the basis of every disease? Yeah. So, you know, there are millions of people who have autoimmune challenges, who have cardiovascular disease. 1 in 3 deaths is from cardiovascular disease. Hormones. Anybody know anybody with sugar problems, thyroid problems? Yeah. So amazing. So just about everybody I know is affected by one of those things. Just one of the 5 genes that was affected is called EGR1. And it has 15 different known pathways, which have to do with things like insulin signaling. Do you think that's important? Yeah. How about thyroid? Spinal cord injury. No, I love this. Circadian rhythms, serotonin. Anybody feel a mood elevation? Better attitude. Your husband says you have a better attitude? Absolutely. That was the first thing my husband said. NRF2. Yeah, NRF2. Do you guys know what that is? It has to do with your master antioxidants. What most people don't know, when they're shoveling green tea and blueberries and all this other stuff into their guts, they don't know that they have to be activated. What activates these antioxidants? Redox molecules, right? And we have a study that actually shows that glutathione and SOD, the 2 major antioxidants in the body, their efficacy is improved by 500 to 800%. Think that's pretty good? So we actually have people, in fact, one of them, you probably heard his name, his wife, had excruciating pain after the birth of one of her children, had tried everything, was on all sorts of different treatments, taking tons of antioxidants, nothing was working. One day on this product, those antioxidants got activated and she was pain-free. As he describes it, it's like taking a box of, being in a dark room and taking a light bulb and nothing happens. So bringing in a box of light bulbs and nothing happens until you hook them up to electricity and turn the lights on, right? And then they all turn on. So 800% lowers oxidized LDL. You think that's important?
Yes.
Anybody see the change in their labs? Stay compliant here. Yeah, and lowers oxidized DNA, also something huge. This product, as a doctor for now 30 years, I have never written a prescription that didn't come without a laundry list of side effects and warnings. And this stuff has only side benefits. I've never had my hands on something so powerful that I could tell just about anybody to take and not worry about it at all. So, whoops. So 3 questions. What's truly important to me in life? Family, friends, experiences, leaving a legacy. Anybody agree with those? Yeah. Why was I practicing medicine? To help people have a better quality of health and a better quality of life, which is what I can do with ASEA. And how do I get my life back with time and money freedom? Be able to do what I love, but also be able to have time to do the other things that I love and focus on the people that I love. Residual income. It's incredible. There's a saying that if people knew about residual income, they would walk through walls to get it. I love this. I'll have to read it because I don't have it memorized. I should. Do you guys know who Jerry and Marshall White are? Yeah, I absolutely love this. What they want to accomplish is to live an amazing life full of adventure, gratitude, and wonder with people we love and care about, making a bigger difference together than we can ever make by ourselves. Getting full recognition for the good things we do and making enough money to be done with it. To be done with it, you guys. Could you imagine? And to be able to concentrate on the things that matter the most. I truly believe that, you know, every dollar that we make in ASEA is just a measuring stick of how many lives we've changed. And I honestly believe that making a lot of money just makes you more of who you are. You know, if you're a good person, if you're a giver, you're going to be a better person and you're going to be more of a giver. So the things that are important to me is my family. Hayes love nothing better than another Hayes, you know, which is pretty cool. We like to stick together. Look at how good my husband looks. That was just 2 years ago. Somebody said, I didn't know your husband was in a wheelchair. No. That's his dad, who is also a World War II vet and now 93 years old. So yeah, and that's me in the middle before I striped my hair. So cute. Anyway, this is us. I love Disney. I love traveling. I love being with my family. There's my sister. Now this joke won't go over. This is south of the border. It's on Highway 95 in the U.S. It's like people drive for miles to go see Pedro south of the border. It's terrible that I have to explain the jokes, so just go back. Yes, I went to Ecuador with ASEA. This is my husband, me in Hawaii a couple of years ago. That's my sister, my niece, and me is the village of idiots in Morocco. Yeah, more of us last year. The whole family went to Europe. You know, how would it feel? Who loves to travel here? Yeah. How would you like to be able to travel all the time you want? Come down to Australia if you want to. Yeah. Oh, there I am, looking like the Tasmanian devil, right? Yeah. I'm sorry. I didn't have a chance to put up my pictures of me hugging a koala and petting a kangaroo and running away from an emu who wanted to bite me. But yeah, it was awesome experience. One of the things I really, really love about this company is ASEA Advancing Life. Anybody here been on any of the missions? We've been a part of it. I've been very, very blessed. I went on the first mission with this company down to Mexico, where the poverty was unbelievable. I'd never seen anything like this. They didn't have running water. You know, they had to have water kind of brought into them. And, you know, this is what they lived in. This was their house. So we literally built water cisterns for them, ovens for them, chicken coops. And it was amazing. They were so grateful and so thankful. But what really touched my heart is the leaders from the company were there with us. You know, and this was hard, you guys. I'm a little bit of a princess and a diva, and I had to sleep in what looked like a garage with no electricity, no bathroom. And what we had was like a bucket with a seat on it. And it was really interesting. It was back behind the building. And Tyler Norton, who was one of the founders of the company, his tent was right there. And I just lived in total fear that I'd be sitting there one day and Tyler would come out of the tent and be like, hi, Tyler. Just not good, not good. But we survived it. And then we went to Ecuador. That was 2 years ago. We're building a school down there. It's still ongoing, so you can be a part of that. My son went to USC, which is a very privileged school, and he was feeling bad because he said the kids who went there, I mean, you know, LA, Kardashian territory, he said those kids drive better cars than you and Dad. So I dragged him to Ecuador to do some work. So it was the best thing I ever did. So that's us. We're building a school, we're building walls. Karen Riley, who is if you know Kim Hill here, Karen Riley is the Vice President of Sales in North America. That's me and my best friend, Lasami. That's us. Those are the bricks that we have to haul up. And let me tell you, Justin, I gave away the surprise ending. Anyway, Justin Wilson, who is our global vice president of sales, was a killer on this with a wheelbarrow. So anyway, this is me going diamond. Karen Riley told me that if I made it to diamond, she was going to get me a tiara because I always wear my hair tiara ready. So I got a Disney princess dress. It wasn't exactly family friendly. It was kind of falling off in the front, but you know, felt good about it. And there I am with my tiara. Yay! You know what, you guys, dreams can come true. I love this quote by our founder, Bart Norton, where all of the start of something big with great purpose, and right now is the moment that we can begin influence the future. We can change the world. Who wants to be a part of that? Who wants to change the world? Absolutely, absolutely. And that's me with Bertus in Cancun a couple of years ago. So that's it. Thank you, you guys. I'll be back after talking a little bit about the business, but I really appreciate your listening. And before I sit down, let's hear from some of the people who put on the gel. Anybody want to share? Yeah.
Yeah, even in the short time, it actually ease the mobility of the shoulder.
That is fantastic. Where was your pain when you started?
Well, it's a combination of the top and the muscular connection.
But from 1 to
Both.
10, where was it?
In the at the top.
Better.
Yeah, no, it's much better.
Okay, wonderful. Give her a round of applause. Anybody else want to share? Wait a minute, we need all like 10, 20 tubes. Oh, excellent.
Hi. I was very skeptical, as you are normally, but I've got slight arthritis and everything in my fingers. I'm amazed at just that little bit that I rubbed on. There is flexibility, more so in the finger. Yeah, quite impressive.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you. Anybody else want to share? Yeah, like Bob Barker. You guys know who that is? Oh, these American references. Go.
Hi, I'm Kotter from Bart. I've had it for 2 years, and it was shattered tonight. And the gel went down to about 1 or 2. Wow. Awesome.
Anybody else? This was unplanned and unrehearsed, in case you're wondering. Could have done this a little bit.
It's my first time. I have some injury in both hands in the car accident, and it actually made grasping of the hands much easier. At least, is it that or not? But yes, I put it on 3 times.
Oh, great. Well, if there's anybody who doubts that these products work, I mean, that's not a trick. That really happens. Has anybody had a burn, used it on a burn?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely amazing how quickly. In fact, I'd like to do a demonstration. Can somebody come up and volunteer? Does anybody have a lighter? Promise it will heal fast. But anyways, guys, we're going to have a few people come up and share their testimonials, share their stories, so that you can hear, how these molecules have changed people's lives. So again, it's so great to be here with you. I love Australia. In fact, I think I'll stay. Yeah, yay. I could say Aussie and a few other words. No. No. So, anyway, thank you again.
Go back 2 slides.
Brilliant.
Thank you, Maureen. That was a great presentation. Thank you so much. Give her another round of applause. I love that it encompassed so much of your personal story and how this has made an impact in your life, and you've then been able to pass on that gift and make an impact in so many people's lives. So speaking of impact, we've got 3 people that are going to come up and share from their experience. So I'm not certain who the 3 are. I know the first one is Andrew. If I can invite Andrew Fitzsimmons. Thank you. Give him a big hand. So just in a few words, where were you at when you guys first came across ASEA? What was the situation? What made you decide to give it a shot, and what was the outcome? Thanks, Andrew.
Hi there, I'm Andrew. I'm from the Gold Coast, and we started ASEA, I was about 16 months ago. My little boy, he was in hospital, been there for about 6 months, on and off with different operations, and we didn't really know anything. And then finally, we got the devastating news that he had problems in his brain and his spine. And our next door neighbour, Rodney, he was the one that introduced us to ASEA. He was fighting a problem of his own, and we looked at it, we're like, right, this is a no-brainer. He was having success. We looked through some testimonials. So we got straight on it. My little boy, he'd been bed for probably 6 weeks. He hadn't been moving. we don't know the stories. You know, we don't really want to remember what happened. So it's kind of sometimes you look back and I don't want to think about it. But I'd say within 2 days, my little boy got out of bed. My story is that he went swimming. My wife says he goes dancing, but he did something. So it didn't matter. And so we saw just the change in Taj, and we did the same kind of treatments as what Maureen was talking about with the husband. So he had the beam and he had the chemicals in, and it was horrendous. But just looking at Taj in the hospital compared to some of the other kids, we're like, why aren't they doing it? But it's pretty hard to talk to people in that situation. So we're in the hospital in Brisbane, and it was a nightmare. But you know, I think we started in March or something last year, 2018, and January 2019 this year, he's all good. So. Yeah, we're on a bit of a mission because all we want to do is try and help as many people, and you just got to try it. It's not going to hurt anything, and it's only going to do some good. So if you're worrying about it, I think you better stop wondering and just make a decision, get on it. That's all I can say. Crazy if you don't.
I was fortunate enough to share a little bit of this journey with him. One of the key things was to see the difference between Taj going through the treatment and other kids who were going through the exact same treatment with similar conditions. Just in closing, would you mind letting us know what were some of the differences that this technology made for him?
Yeah, so like first thing was that beam, and he was covered in this terrible suit that he had to lay in this situation, and that gives you some pretty serious burns. So the doctors gave us some special cream. We chucked that straight out and got straight into the renew, and no burns. He had some, I must say he had some, but his burns were very limited. He should get a lot of hair loss. His hair loss was very minimal as well. Towards the end, yeah, he did lose it, but yeah, he still energy. He was in a really bad way. Yeah, like after the horrendous operations he had, his energy was pretty what they were done. But his energy lifted. We didn't really start on. We only started on 30 mils twice a day of the ASEA. And we rubbed the Renew 28 gel on his head, down his spine, feet, everywhere we could think of. But then we lifted it. We weren't, you know, it was something new that we were doing. Little did I know we could have gave him a whole bucket full of it. And I think we would have, now that we know it, and I don't care how much it costs, I'd do it all again, and I'd just definitely do it and get into it. But now he's on the tablets as well. I saw them over there.
Yeah.
The VIA range, and that's made a huge difference. His energy's great. We went mountain biking riding the other day. We haven't been back surfing, but it's going to happen.
Thank you very much. Second volunteer that has been organised for tonight, if you know that's you, just come to the front. Oh, here we go. And this is Gary. Give him a warm hand. Thank you, Gary.
Hi, my name is Gary. I've been on this product for about 3 months, 3.5 months, and I got some pretty amazing results from the first time I tried it, the first day or so. But what's really amazed me the most is that whenever I do any physical activity, I do a lot of renovations, I do a lot of work around the house, that the next day after these renovations, after picking up or laying tiles, and I just can't move. So for about 2 or 3 days, I'm out of it and I do my other work. And about 2 weeks ago, one of my friends offered to help me cut down 9 trees in my property. And I moved all these big logs. And next day I said to him, don't come back because I'm going to be out of it for the next 3 or 4 days. The next morning I woke up and I was fine. I had no muscular discomfort. I was feeling absolutely fine, energy-wise, everything. And I phoned him up and said, come over and we'll carry on. And for the next 10 days, every day I woke up, it was like Groundhog Day. Groundhog Day of being perfect. So quite amazing. That really blew my mind. I've had a lot of other experiences with this product, but that's what really sort of cemented it in my mind for me.
Thank you. Thank you, Sharon. And now we have the wonderful Julie wants to share. Who needs no introduction?
Hey everyone. So a lot of you have seen my photos, but some of you are new, so you haven't. I had, from a very young age, a lot of abnormal cells cut out of my body everywhere, literally. And I had abnormal cells in my breast and lymph nodes when I was a lot younger. It has nothing to do with ASEA, but the treatment I had from that really damaged my immune system. And my doctor told me that those issues were going to get a lot worse, and I really didn't believe that they could, because they were already bad enough, but they certainly did, because my immune system wasn't keeping them at bay anymore. And I went on to have a lot more operations, and then a lot more. The last time they tried to operate on my forehead, my doctor actually broke the sutures 3 times trying to stitch me up, because they'd taken so much out of there, they just couldn't get it together. And then they decided that they needed to start using other things, so I had several different creams to try and sort all that out. And I was introduced to ASEA from a photo I put on Facebook, and a friend contacted me and said, "You really need to know about U28, Julie." And literally I listened and I started using it, and a few months after that I started taking the supplement, and I've been taking it ever since, and that was back in 2015, April 2015, and I have not had an abnormal cell cut out of me since. That's pretty amazing. I love ASEA.
G'day everyone, how you going? What a great turnout, and we're really blessed to have Dr. Maureen Hayes here. She's a lovely lady and a lot of wisdom and insight. My story began with ASEA over 13 years ago. I'm a surfer and a builder, and I went head first into a sandbar and I broke my neck. And I was lucky I didn't end up in a wheelchair, but progressively every day, every month, every year, it got worse and worse to a point where I was, the agony was unbearable. A lot of people say, well, you know, health products can be expensive, or this particular product, 10 years, physios, chiropractic, touch for health, acupuncture, every single sessions, 3 or 4 a week, for 10 years, that was over $100,000. 6 months on this product, the Renew 28 and the drink, I had 100% recovery. And I also lost a lot of weight because I could use my body again. So I've lost over 30 kilos using this and obviously adjusting my health. So here's the kicker. A lot of people say, you know, you need to have some evidence or proof about this. I won't share my other story. A lot of people may know about it, but I'll just stick to this one. But I needed to have a very special test done that measures every single cell in your body for any disease. And when I saw the doctor having a look at my spine, I said, "Can you tell me what my C6 looks like? You know, what do you see when you look at that?" And he pulls up the computer through this particular program they had, and he said, "No, it looks perfectly healthy, nothing wrong. Why do you ask?" And he didn't know that I had that injury, so I have a 100% repaired body. So. Yeah, I drink a lot of these molecules every day. I take all the vitamins. I even use all the skincare. So I'm a builder and I'm a surfer. If you saw me 4.5 years ago, I looked like an old man. And now I feel younger, stronger, fitter, harder, and having a great time. So this technology works.
Thank you so much for those of you who shared. You may be sitting here with some kind of a condition, some kind of a situation, and whilst we're not saying this product, this technology is a cure for anything, we are all made of cells, and there is the common thread to all situations that you may be experiencing. I mixed 2 words, couldn't find one. The reason we share those testimonies is because as you can see from Dr. Maureen Hayes sharing, there is so much science out there, but I don't know about you. I wanted to eyeball some people, meet some people who'd had real experiences, and just like that, you can meet hundreds and thousands around the world experiencing breakthroughs with this technology, and I hope that you're the next one. So we are fortunate that in the case of this breakthrough, we all have the opportunity to participate. And I'm going to invite Dr. Maureen to come back now for a few minutes to share a little bit more on the opportunity to participate in the distribution, which is unique. This may not be something you're interested in for you, but for those of you who want to take a place in impacting other lives, this section will be very exciting. So thank you. Please welcome back Dr. Maureen Hayes.
It's
Yeah,
right
it's
here.
over here. It's
Sorry,
here.
we were trying to share it. And Bart, are we hooked up to this mic? It's almost a 2 hour. It's kind of like a 2 hour. I'd like to do it. Hey, are you guys game for a little bit of fun?
Yeah.
Okay, super. I'm gonna need 2 volunteers and I don't have a lighter. So you're perfectly safe. But if I can, let me see, is anybody in the audience analytical? Like, I need to think about this. I need to research. Come on up here, please. Yeah. Thank you. And who out here, when you hear about something really good, feels like it's your job to share? You know, it doesn't matter. If they don't want to hear about it, fine. If they don't want to get involved, fine. But you're just going to go out and tell people good news. Anybody? Okay, sir, if you want to come up here, that's great. Okay, you're going to study redox signaling molecules. You're going to go to PubMed, maybe you're going to read some journals, all of that stuff, right? Okay, so kind of go over to the corner and do your research. Sir, I want you just to reach out to one person and have them come up here and help you, okay? Anybody. They don't have to want it. Yeah? Okay. You guys, who said they wanted to have some fun?
Come on.
Okay, come on. Okay, come on. Come up. It's harmless. I'm not going to do anything to you. Promise. I'm going to look for my other thing. Was that me? Oh. Okay, so they're sharing and you're researching. Have you found anything? Are you happy? You feel good about redox signaling molecules, or you need more research? More research, okay, fine. If you both would go out and just grab one person and just tell them about it and bring it up to stage. You guys, I'm doing a demonstration. My sponsor is somebody named Terry Latham. Have you guys heard of Terry Latham? He told me about this, and as a physician and somebody who has a scientific background, I had to do my own due diligence, right?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. Okay, keep going, you guys. Keep going. Grab people, bring them up here, and you keep studying, okay? Go ahead, get more people. Each one of you just bring one person up. Just one person up who wants to stand up. Okay, here you guys. You can stand up. Just point to somebody and just stand up in your chair, by your chair. And she's still breathing. Yeah? Okay, stand up if you point to somebody and just have them stand up. Boy, you Australians, come on. I mean, you are, this is incredible. Okay, you guys just point to somebody or get somebody. Yeah, thank you. Are you interested? Stand up. If somebody points.
You can stand.
Fantastic. You guys just
Now we
keep
pick
pointing
someone
to
else to
people.
stand
Turn
up.
around and point
You
to
get to
somebody.
stand up.
And she's still studying. Okay, you guys are tired. Maybe you had some
All right,
wine
you guys
before you
can
came
pick
in here.
someone.
I don't know. But in a very short period of time, I hope you can see that most of you would be standing if you would get up. Oh, he's even getting up. Bless your heart. Big round of applause for this gentleman. Yes, thank you. Yeah. This is called the ripple effect, you guys. And in a very short period of time, if you will go out and just share this with one person, each one of you, one person, you think you could share it with one person a month? You guys go ahead and sit down. If you would share it with one person a month, do you think you could change? You could get a bunch of people involved? Absolutely. And she's still studying. Good, thank you. Give her a round of applause. Let me just go on and say that whatever you do today, whether you decide to join us, whether you decide to build this, whether you decide to go out and get your one person in mind. Thank you. Whether you do or you don't, you're going to impact thousands of people. And if you are one of these people, like myself, who needs to take 6 months to decide whether or not this is worthwhile, let me tell you what the difference is. I'm a double diamond, and that is awesome. I'm so excited to be a double diamond. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, it's really pretty cool, and it's really worthwhile, and I've got my life back. But my sponsor, who got involved right away, is an ambassador double diamond. And I'll tell you what, double diamond is awesome, and ambassador double diamond kills it. You know, it's way above. And that's a 6-month difference, you guys. Now I'm going to give you 4 commandments for building this. Do you think you can write these down and maybe commit them to memory? First commandment. Ready? Sign up and order stuff. Can somebody repeat it back to me?
Sign up and order stuff.
Wow, this is a great group. Okay, commandment number 2. You guys ready? See, a lot of you are not writing. Find people to sign up and order stuff. Repeat. Find people to sign up and order stuff. Ready for number 3? Teach those people to find people to sign up and order stuff. Repeat. Teach those people to find people to sign up. This is an amazing group, and you guys are going to explode when you leave here. It's incredible. Anybody know what number 4 is? Close. Get paid. And repeat. Is that pretty simple, you guys?
Yeah.
That's all we actually do here. That's what our business is touching one person at a time, sharing good news. And here's what I'm going to tell you as a doctor who promotes these products to everybody, because my motto is I want to help people have a better quality of life and a better quality of health, right? All this is a biohack to help your body work better. Who here wants their body to work better? It's a no-brainer, you guys. You know, you don't have to, we've heard some amazing testimonials here. You don't have to get into the science or the medical part or diagnose or treat or anything like that. All we're doing is using a supplement, replenishing molecules in the body that help the body to work better. Pretty simple? Yeah, it really is. So if you like people, maybe some of you don't, but if you do like people and you want to help them, get out there and share this, okay? It's as simple as that. And you know what? I'd love to have a couple of business testimonials for people who have had a lot of success in this. Maybe Bart would like to say a few words. I know Christina, you had offered as well. Because you know, you need to know the sky's the limit. There's no ceiling here. There's no glass ceiling. You can be as great as you want to be. It's a mindset. So if you want to have your time and money freedom, please join us. It's a mission for us. And I just want a few people to come up and just talk about how great their life is. Thank you, Bart.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Maureen.
Mal, let's have Mal Sword come on in here. Mal. Mal Sword is an ambassador double diamond with ASEA, and has been in this profession for, let's see, since 1910, is that right?
Long time.
Who would you say?
So some of you know the journey I've had with this amazing company. I began the journey in February 2016. Won't go into the war stories, but probably the lowest part of my journey, my life really in the recent years, was in 2015 when I didn't have the money to buy my 4 little boys Christmas presents, and that kind of was a turning point. And so my friend Danny, who had been with ASEA about 12 months, invited me to come to a function that was the launch of ASEA in February 2016, and my journey began then. I had no money, I had no cash flow, I was $130,000 behind zero. So I had come out of bankruptcy, so I was in a bad place, really, really bad place. In 3 years, 3 short years, that's kind of changed. The income that I have now is phenomenal, really phenomenal. And I had my biggest month ever in my life this last month. I won't tell you what I earned because, but it was a lot. Some people would you know, it would take them 3 years to earn what I made in a month. Have I worked the business? I've worked the business. I've shared this with many people all over the world. Probably what's defining about this and the journey I've had is that I've had more no's than most people. I've asked more people, and I've had more people that have said no to me. And you're going to have that too. People don't understand it. They don't get it. It's a transformational technology. We are the pioneers to the planet with this technology. But the opportunity is with this company is phenomenal. You can change your life if you're just prepared that some people are going to say no. And if you get through that, you can make any amount of income that you want, whether it's $10,000 a month or whether it's $20,000 a day. There is no limit to what you can generate in this business. The technology is phenomenal. The opportunity is phenomenal. The owners of the company are phenomenal. I'm now 44, I think. I will never see another opportunity like this in my life. And you know what? You won't either. I promise you, you're never going to see another ASEA. And the only thing you have to do is get in your mind what it is you want from this. What do you want this to do for you? Get in your mind that you can, accomplish anything. Everything that you and I do in our lives is dependent on what goes on in here. Most valuable real estate is 6 inches between your ears. That's where the game is won. That's where the game is lost. And if some of you are hurting financially, where I was 3 years ago, that's where you got to do the work. Because you can imagine, bankrupt, lost everything, lost my home, lost my beautiful black Porsche. Beautiful. Lost everything, and 130,000 down the gurgler. There's probably not many of you that would have started in a worse position than I started 3 years ago. But I had a belief, I had a dream, a vision, and I had a company that was incredible, and I took it to people and shared it with people, many of whom said no, but some of them said yes, and some of them meant it. And so it's been a great journey. So I was very grateful to Virtus for allowing us to have this opportunity to create a legacy for our many, many children, in my case, 8 of them. I'm very excited. But anyway, it's a great opportunity, so you can really do with what you want, whatever you want. So thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Christina Williams, would you come up and just share a little bit of where you were at when you heard, when you decided to get involved with this and what your journey's been?
Sorry, I'm back. So thank you, Mel. So for those of you that don't know, Mel actually is my ex-husband, and really awesome that we get to work together. There's some people laughing. I meant it. So where I was at, I'm telling you that because that's how I heard about ASEA. I had seen Danny make an incredible recovery. Thank you. I had seen our friend Danny make an incredible recovery. I had seen this technology do wonderful things in my family, for my father, for my mother. It gave them back their health incredibly. We had seen changes in our children. I had seen changes in myself. So I had no doubt that the product worked. But I didn't really want to engage at all with the business. I really thought this kind of business wasn't for me. It wasn't something I was interested in. The funny thing is that I was in a job that wasn't doing well. I had my own business. It was stressful. It was costing me money. It was costing me sleep. It was making me stressed. But somehow I had chosen that path. So many times we make decisions not based on the one question we should really ask is this going to give me the results that I seek? And to have an answer to that question, we must know what we want. Well, I knew what I didn't want. In October, less than 2 years ago, I lost my business. Somebody made a decision that cut my income almost by 70%, and I found myself with 4 little boys and no way to even pay my rent. So like Malcolm, it was through necessity. It wasn't because I wanted to do this, it's because I had to. And I'm so grateful that this company, normally when there's a breakthrough this big, it stays in the hands of a few people, and a few people make a lot of money. But Virtus and Thailand gave this to the market so that we couldn't just transform lives with their health, but we could transform lives with their finances. Because most families are suffering from one of those 2 ailments, money problems or health problems. And we have the answer to both of those in one blue bottle. If you have your financial life sorted out and you have your health, what else do you need? So I'm really grateful that every time that Malcolm would show up to the house, he would bug me about this. And I got started because I was afraid to get left behind. Because there will be a time, maybe in 5 years or 10 years, or this will be mainstream, this will be everywhere, and you may remember tonight. So I heard about this 10 years ago, and I hope that you have jumped on this and made a decision to take this moment to maybe pivot and turn towards what you really want, the outcome you really want. This can give you the health, this can give you the finances, and for me, 4 months after that, I got to close my company. It totally replaced my income, has allowed me to be a full-time mum at home, allows me to travel every single month to the US where my partner is, has allowed me to move houses to a place that's really beautiful, to be there when the kids are sick, to have the freedom, and also to do something important. For so many of you, this won't be about money, it'll be about being significant, doing something that matters with your life. So I'm so grateful, and I really hope that you take this with both hands.
Dr. Wayne Pigstone, would you mind coming out for just a moment? Now, I know Dr. Pigstone was kind of doing the research thing for a while, but really you did a lot of incredible research, and you've come to some pretty amazing conclusions and jumped into this. Would you mind just sharing just a little bit of what your experience has been with this? Also, Dr. Pigstone is a diamond distributor with the C as well.
Thanks, Bart. Thank you, everyone. I had two challenges. One was intellect. I wanted to find more about redox, and I was in that corner for a year. I basically did a lot of research because I actually have a machine that used to be able to predict redox for 14 years. So I knew a lot about it and didn't think that you could put it in a bottle. My second challenge was that was happening. And that was another year of basically then trying to find out whether I wanted to do this or not. Since I've basically gone through those two hurdles, the interesting thing is I was able to take my family to a holiday in Bali, whereby we were able to give them that. And also while I was there, I was actually enjoying residual income, which I've never experienced before. And that allowed me many a time to be sitting on a chair near a pool with the children around me, with my first grandchild with me, with a tear in my eyes saying, thank you. So that's what it has done for me, and it's meant a lot. And hopefully you can see that there's a lot of people here who have experienced great benefits from the two things that Christine talked about. One was wealth, and the other one was health. They're the two struggles that we have in life. And if we can basically put those two together in one application, it's incredible. So thank you very much. Thank you.
There's so many people here that we'd love to hear from, but I think we go ahead and just wrap up for tonight. Really like to thank Dr. Hayes for her incredible presentation. Give her a round of applause. I just want to say something, and it's probably a little bit of an echo from what we've already heard. But, you know, you can, before I got involved with this company, there's a couple things that I needed to know. I mean, number one, you want to know that you've got a really good product. And quite frankly, I think we got the best product in the world. We've got an opportunity. If you think about it, what's our life about? It's about a chance to make a difference, to help other people, to contribute. And, you know, Mal talked about the income that he was able to earn, and Christina talked about the freedom that she's been able to experience, as well as Dr. Pigstone. But, you know, the cool thing about it is for every dollar that you earn, it actually represents changing lives, making a difference. It's contributing to the lives of other people in a significant way. So the way I looked at it, and the way I suggest you might want to look at it, is we all have a moral obligation to become wealthy. Because truly, we are at the start of something big, just like that quote Verta said. We're in a place right now where we're very lucky to be in a place where we're in momentous growth. And so not only do you want to have a good product, but I just want to tell you from my heart that the people who are involved with this company are the kind of people that you can honestly feel incredibly good about associating your life with, your the integrity of it. And I'm seeing some heads nod. I mean, when I had the opportunity to fly to Salt Lake City and meet the founders, meet Dr. Gary Samuelson, the atomic medical physicist, I had one of those, almost a spiritual moment, if you want to call it that. I just had goosebumps everywhere. I just knew that this was what I was meant to do because I got it. In fact, I remember Vertus, the founder of this company, he stood up and he said, if people really understood what we have our hands on, he said, we'd be bigger than Apple Computer overnight. We've got a very big story to tell and we need help to tell it. So we certainly invite you to come and join us on this journey. Please get with the person who invited you here tonight. This is a remarkable company, a remarkable technology, and it's a great group of people to associate yourself with. So thank you again for everybody that shared tonight. Thank you again, Dr. Hayes. And with that, we'll go ahead and wrap up.
Thank you.